This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me once again is the president and CEO of Patriot Battery Metals, Mr. Blair Way. Blair, it was great catching up at PDAC. It's great catching up in a public forum again. How are you today?
I'm doing good. My voice is slowly coming back after multiple weeks of talking to hundreds of people. But yeah, PDAC was quite the event, as was BMO before that in Miami.
Let's get right into it. You had a drilling update this morning that should excite anyone that is a shareholder or thinking about becoming a shareholder of Patriot. You just extended CV5 to 3.15 kilometers. You also just finished closing on a $50 million financing that's all going into the ground. I listened to an interview with you, and I also listened to a separate interview with Ken, and it struck me as interesting how much more comfortable the both of you seem in talking about the Corvette Lithium District in the same light as potentially not just a Voisey's Bay, but potentially multiple Voisey's Bays, right? And so let's start first with the drilling update because all of us are eager for assays. We know there was a quiet period with the financing. How are things coming on that front? You got to be excited to get CV5 over to 3.15 kilometers.
Absolutely. With the drill program that we've had this winter, we're just plowing through it. And as you know, my mantra has always been we drill, drill, and drill, and that's what we've been doing. The financing, which was an important financing because it brings in more money for drilling, $50 million for exploration drilling. So, what that has what that's doing for us, of course, is allowing us to have this big runway ahead of us so we can continue to drill the Corvette property with multiple drill targets yet to be drilled. But the drilling we're doing at CV5, I can't see how anyone would be disappointed in what we've been able to produce this in this winter's drill program so far to extend CV5 by 550 meters to a total of 3.15. We're also drilling westward, which people seem to probably forget that CV5, we're drilling westward with the drills now heading towards CV13. We've drilled over 20,000 meters. That's almost as much as we drilled all last year. So as the assays start flowing in, and as everyone knows, the assays come in a normal sort of 4 week turnaround time. However, as the results are more, how shall we say, more impressive, then sometimes those turnaround times take longer because they have to retest. It's just a simple over limit situation, and people can speculate or what have you. But the lab has been producing, to schedule. However, we're getting the sort of results that need to be checked, and that we're going to make damn sure the results that are coming out are accurate. And also, we had the financing that put a bit of a quiet spell in there. And I know I committed everyone to do weekly news releases, but I hope people can sympathize with the fact when we are in a financing, I do have to change that program. But we're working on a runway now beyond Easter and into the spring, so we will get back onto track and aim for regular news releases on a weekly basis. Maybe around Easter it might quiet down again, but yeah, we have a lot of news flow ahead. Massive drill program, well funded. I can't see why people aren't going to be excited by this.
You mentioned the extension of CV5 to 3.15 kilometers. If my math is correct, and I'm just freestyling here, you're probably only 1.5 kilometers away from CV4 now. And, I speculated early on that I think when it's all said and done, a lot of this is going to be just one big blob underneath some lake cover. And it sure seems that it's going in that direction. Is there anything with the drill bit thus far that disproves my crazy speculation that I had early on?
I like your deep technical evaluation of a deep blob, which is probably a good way to describe a pegmatite. It is kind of a blob, like cookie dough being squished through cracks or what have you, or fissures in the ground. But it does appear to continue. And look, we know CV4 is a spodumene bearing pegmatite. How it extends up the lake, really, the winter has not been a super cold one, so we haven't had as many rigs on the ice as we'd hoped. But fortunately, we've been able to drill with our snow road and the trails we've been able to make. We've still been able to put trails along the shoreline and do the drilling from the shore. This summer we'll have a second barge, so we'll have two rigs on a barge to continue with the delineation and also continue up towards CV4. But it's been unfortunate the ice hasn't been as thick. It's up to some cases a foot and a half, 2 feet thick, but that's not quite enough to put the rig on, and we're not taking any chances with losing a rig through the ice. So we've been very sensible, but we've still obviously been able to drill tons of meters, continue to delineate the extension of our blob up towards CV4. But yeah, it certainly does look like, and it's typical of pegmatite occurrence, that it does have some form of continuity. Now it can pinch and swell as you go east and west and north and south and to depth, but I don't know if you remember, we talked about this a long time ago, and we were going to connect CV5 to CV6, and that was 500 meters. Like, woo, that seems a bit crazy. And then we did the 1.8 kilometers to get to CV1. Well, it didn't connect to CV1; it went past CV1. And now we're heading up to the CV4. We only have a kilometer and a half, so we remain optimistic that there is this sort of connectivity, and that's another reason why we're heading west from CV5 towards CV13. Now that's 4.5 kilometers away. Does it go all the way? We just don't know, and the only way to define that is with the drill bit. We can't see through the glacial till. There's no geophysics or remote sensing that truly gives us any clarity. It is the drill bit, and that's one of the reasons why raising another 50 million in charity flow through, which is the most efficient way to raise money for the company, to drill holes in the ground to prove the value of what we have here. And that's exactly what we're doing. We go back to the same mantra that you and I have spoken about many times: drill, drill, and drill.
I speculated about the blob. So far, so good. I'll speculate that the assay delay is in part related to the fact that, that Novazone is likely going to continue to produce blockbuster results that require multiple tests. When can we anticipate assays, Blair? I have to ask you because if not, they'll kill me.
No, I know it's the question it's $1 million question or multi-million-dollar question, and we have to rely on the labs to give us the information accurately and in a timely manner. And we do expect some assays to be coming soon. I'd like to think they'll be next week, but we get the assay results. We then have to correlate them in with the existing, tie it into the model, and make sure we put in, interpret that data correctly. So hopefully next week, but if not, it'll be the week after, and we'll have something flowing through. But meanwhile, we have lots of other news to talk about. We'll continue to provide updates on the drilling. And that's always interesting for people to at least understand what the pegmatite's doing. And then as we get the assays, that then tells you what the spodumene, or if the spodumene mineralization, and how it continues throughout the pegmatites. But we also have some other activities going on in respect to environmental and study work, which we'll also provide some updates on, and also start demonstrating or talking about the plan that we have for our summer drill program. And that's looking to be quite an exciting summer we're going to have here. And 2023 is going to be an amazing year for Patriot.
I was going to ask you about that summer drill program. We'll leave that for another day. Let's hopefully be chatting next week. Blair, thanks for the update. Great catching up.
Sounds good, Gerardo. Always great to catch up.
Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.